Stand for a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to tonight's meeting, Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. Tonight's meeting is conducted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is posted on the back wall. Councilman Sherman informed us that he was going to be late. We do still expect him at some point tonight to attend another meeting. So I guess I would ask if there is a motion to excuse Councilman Sherman for the record. Motion by Stroman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bondegard, roll call.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegard.
Yes.
Motion carries, 1 in favor, 0 against, and we'll just turn things over to him. Next up on the agenda, item number 2, approval of minutes for December 14th, 2022. If there's anything anybody saw that wants comments, questions, corrections, deletions. If everything looks okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Who made the motion? Okay, Brittany motion, Stroman second, roll call.
Galloway,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegard,
Yes.
Stroman.
Yes.
Motion carries, 4 in favor, 0 against. Item number 3, comments by the public. If there's anybody that wishes to speak to anything that is not otherwise on the agenda, may do so at this time. Seeing none, we move on to item number 4, consideration of ordinance 1842, approving revisions to the City of Sydney codified ordinances. I think Lori, you're going to speak to that.
These are ordinances that have been approved by council over the course of the year, and I send them over to the American Legal. We publish them on our website, and so basically we're just giving approval of all of the past ordinances that we've approved.
So individually, they've been approved, we just need to package them together and put into
Correct.
Into our ordinance book.
ordinance books. Any questions or comments on that? Do we need to designate this one, Jay?
You've got to do the whole thing.
Okay. Is there a motion to designate ordinance 1842?
I will.
Motion by Bondegard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Radcliffe. Roll call.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegard,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway.
Yes, motion carries, 4 in favor, 0 against. So I'd ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title.
An ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances and repealing ordinances and resolutions in conflict therewith.
Okay? So that would constitute the first reading of the ordinance. Considering that, I don't know that there's a time limit, but considering that these are all ordinances, things that have been previously passed, I don't think there's anything wrong with waiving the 3 readings.
Correct.
So if there's no objections, is there a motion to waive the 3 readings?
So moved.
Motion by Bondegard.
Radcliffe.
Radcliffe. Yes.
Do we have the same voice
Yeah, well, you're kind of talking down like this, I'm like, I don't know.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. I gotta start looking at you. Motion by Radcliffe, second by Stroman. Roll call.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegard,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway.
Yes. Motion to waive the 3 readings carries 4 to 0. So that being our third final reading, Dan, I would ask, is there a motion to pass ordinance 1842?
I will.
Motion by Bondegard.
Second.
Second. Gonna have hand signals and lights.
Bondegard,
Yes.
Stroman, Galloway,
Yes.
Radcliffe.
Yes.
Motion Motion passes 4 in favor, 0 against. Finally then, is there a motion to designate, or not designate, I'm sorry.
Publish.
I need to
Publish.
read the number first.
Yes. I asked the clerk to read it by number.
1842.
Thank you. Now, lastly, is there a motion to publish ordinance 1842? That's easier. Motion by Strong,
I will.
second by Vonnegut. Roll call.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Sondegard.
Yes.
Motion to publish carries 4 in favor, 0 against. Okay, item number 5, consideration of resolution 20221, 202, transportation ban. Casey?
Council, how are we doing?
Good.
I know I was here once before, and we had to get a resolution for a new van. What we're looking for is, since COVID, we have kind of gone away from stage line, and we are a lot more curb to curb, one-on-one. So I was looking to get a minivan to help us lower cost of fuel, maintenance, and help us get around a lot better around town. These minivans are handicap accessible, so everything is ADA compliant and everything like that. So really all I'm asking for, what it does is we only have to pay 10% of the cost of the van. So right now we're only going to pay $6,500 for the van. In the reserves I have $12,000 or $15,000, so I have enough money to cover. And these are about a year out, so if it comes early, we have enough money, but we will budget for it next year. And other than that, we have 2 buses with over 100,000 miles, which by state, we can auction those off at any time. We have one that's a 2010, that'll probably go up for auction next time we have one. So we'll still be around 4 vehicles, but this one will help us out in many different ways.
So again, cost to the city on a $48,000 van is only $65,000.
Yeah, well, the one that they gave us was the old one. Obviously, the price of everything is going up. That's where they're guessing that the new contract is going to be at is $65,000. So our 10% would be $6,500. Yeah, that print off is
That
Is
was
an older
that's an older
one.
one? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
they were in contract negotiations when I
Gotcha.
wanted to come up. So I was just trying to get done quickly to get us in and get us ordered one.
And I think in talking to you previously too, that there's also some more opportunities, because at times there's calls to take people outside of town or to appointments outside of Sydney. So through some of the programs that we're getting involved with, there's opportunities to actually profit and make some money. That'd be more profitable with this type of vehicle.
Yes, it definitely would be, because I mean, having a 12-person bus for one person running up to Walmart, even at 4 miles, you know, with the miles per gallon on those buses are 8 miles per gallon, and these can get, 12, 16, 18, whatever you want to say on it. So that money right there, and yeah, I've, talked about possibly going outside and doing county lines and running just Cheyenne County, and this would help us very much, because there is, with Motive Care, there is a lot of rides, and there is some good money with those rides that we can make. So this is just one step in moving forward into doing more.
Okay. Any questions, comments for Casey on the purchase of the van that we were apprised of before?
I was gonna say, the only thing I'm confused about is, didn't we approve this once? That's what I don't.
We
We
did
have an
approve it,
official-
but we just need to approve the resolution.
We approved the purchase, but it needed a resolution.
Okay.
For the state finding.
Yeah, the state line.
Okay, any other questions for Casey? And we'll go ahead and note that Councilman Sherman is here at 7:09 PM, and I'll turn the meeting back over now. So I think we're ready for a vote.
All right. Motion to vote on resolution 2022-102.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Galloway, Strong, second by Burke.
Before they were kind of like sounding the same, so.
Galloway,
Really?
Oh.
It was tough to do.
It was a deal,
Okay, so that's Burke's motion.
yeah.
Galloway,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Sondegard,
Yes.
Stroman.
Yes. Okay. The resolution passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Got that?
All right, next we have consideration of resolution 202-30101.
And this is to approve the new signature cards for the banks and the stamps, replacing you, or Rogers, with you, Brad. And so basically, it's just approving the new signatures.
And I already did them, and it was a lot of work.
It
really is a lot of signatures.
Think about it.
Oh, shoot.
This is your last chance to back out.
Last chance. No, just take your time. And it is a lot of cards, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Two attempts. Managed to get through it.
I'll move to pass resolution 202-3010.
Ice my carpal tunnel.
Second. Motion by Galloway, second by Stroman.
Sherman?
Yes.
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Bondegaard?
Yes.
Stroman?
Yes.
Galloway?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 5-0. We have the consideration of board assessment reappointment.
Or adjustments.
Board
Yeah, Board of Adjustment.
Oh, what did I say?
Okay, we have, I put the ads in the paper for the board adjustment in the Telegraph. We received only 2 of the applications, and they are reappointments from Scott McDaniel and Steve Hume. Dave Hausman declined to apply, so we will be 1 short.
We'll continue to advertise for that third.
Yes, we did. So I'd like to, I'd recommend that we approve Scott McDaniel and Steve Hume, and why we look for a couple others to fill the vacant spot.
And typically, there's just 3 on that board, correct?
There is actually
There's more than that. There's 5, I think.
I think there's
5
5.
with 1 alternate.
We've got an issue with, we have 2 members that are appointed from the Planning Commission to the Board of Adjustment, and the statute says you can only have 1. So we're going to have to be working on that to correct it. I don't know when that happened, but Lori questioned it. We looked up the statute, and yeah. So we'll be working on that as well.
That makes sense, since that's the board that ultimately overrules the
Right.
planning commission.
Correct.
You wouldn't want to have it all planning commission people.
So we will actually have 2 vacant spots.
So if you know anybody interested in that,
So they've already been on, how long have they served on the board?
I think Scott was 3 terms, and
he's been on that long time.
Steve, I'm not sure.
They've all been on there since I've been here.
Looks like Steve was on there since 2001, and Scott McDaniel was on there since 2010.
Everyone to realize we should let them do it as quickly as possible.
I think both of them have done a good job serving in that role as well as other volunteer roles for the city. I'll move that we reappoint Scott McDaniel and Steve Hill to the Board of Adjustment.
Second?
Oh, yeah, it was like 2 seconds. Motion by Galloway, second by Burke.
Burke, or,
Bird's
Oh.
I can tell her voice is apart, I don't know what you guys are.
oh, I thought it was Randall.
It's kind
Must
of
be the acoustics.
it's kind of like Muppets.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegaard,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes. Okay, consideration of Housing Authority Board appointment.
Do you want me to speak to this?
I would love that.
The Housing Authority is, board requires, the Housing Authority consists of 5 members, one of whom needs to be a current city council member, and the other who needs to be a current resident of either Sioux Villa or Western Heritage. If you remember, I think it was maybe the last meeting, one before that, we reappointed the resident member. But Bob Olson was I think Roger was the council member for a while, and I think it was Bob Olson for a while, and then maybe Ron Sherman for a while, but with Brad being mayor now. We want to know who you want to have as your housing authority board member. They meet quarterly, so it's not a gigantic commitment.
Is it quarterly or every other month?
It's quarterly, but we're off schedule now because the last meeting they had was during the snowstorm, so there will be one probably, and then another one a month later. We're kind of a little bit behind. I think it's this week, I think it's Friday, or this Thursday. Did it used to be every other month?
When I did it, it was monthly, and they had switched to every other month. So that's why I asked.
I think it's this quarter. I've been going everything.
I'm not sure what it was when you were on it.
Me neither.
But we probably need to have at least one.
And an excellent opportunity for a brand new councilman to cat their resume a little bit.
Just to give you some background, it's
Every
really,
other month.
it's fairly simple, and, I mean, for the most part, they're going through their financials, P&L statements, things like that, basic accounting. They will listen to some grievances if they're brought forward in the right manner from residents and things. But basically, you're working with the Scottsbluff Housing Authority, who manages our housing authority. Mostly budgetary items. I know when I was on it, had proceeded with building the Canterbury Estates project because our housing authority has done a very good job and is operating in the black. So they went ahead with that project and immediately filled all of the housing units from that. They also have plans, kind of loose plans, to do more development, or I should say redevelopment, with the Sioux Villa up on the north side. They have the property and some of the means to do that, so that's a project that could be in the very near future coming up if they continue organizing towards that and find some more grant opportunities to help fund that. But very, very worthwhile organization, has done an extremely good job representing the community and the housing authority on that.
I think Roger's right. Ultimately, I think their goal is to, at some point with Sioux Villa, do that in sections.
Yeah, we had
Do
talked
that,
about,
yeah.
as far back when I was on it, we had talked about, basically, they have open property, so building duplexes, triplex, quadplexes with garages, and then as they give residents in to those, and then start to tear down those. And so what you would end up with is a totally redeveloped neighborhood that more seamlessly blends in with the existing neighborhood. So great project, great goals and stuff, and I think they'll continue to work towards that to be able to get it done.
A lot of their financial decisions that I've sat there and listened to are like, how many units do we have empty, what it would cost us to get X amount up and going, how much would we make? It's a lot of money decisions that you just kind of look at the numbers and.
I mean,
is it worth it to do
ultimately,
this or that?
ultimately, they know you can only fix up the old barrack buildings, so much.
Right.
You can only, at some point you're putting lipstick on a pig, but you got to come up with a better plan. And they have the makings of it, the beginnings of a good plan, but they're just, I think, in the process of trying to seek out more federal grants and some funding opportunities through some of the different organizations that they can work through to get that project going. And I personally, from my work with them, I think they do a lot of great work. I know Scott McDaniel's on that board and does a fantastic job for them. And one of the citizens in the area that's on that board, Dolores Virgil, also does an outstanding job. So a lot of people that are passionate about serving on that board. It's not a lot of frequent meetings. I probably would volunteer, but I'm having a little harder time getting way over noon. Typically, the meetings are at noon.
Oh, yeah, I should mention that. And then they go back and forth between Cheyenne Villa and.
Yeah. But as far as just a little bit of work with the housing market and housing opportunities, I think it's very educational.
How long is it?
Oh, I did write that down. Actually, the one that is going right now would end on October 1st of '23, so you'd be filling until October of '23, and then either be reappointed or choose somebody different. But
Well, from the city council's representative, wouldn't it just be each time the council reorganizes, or no?
sure, I mean, you can change that. But this term ends then, but yeah, you're going to switch it. We probably switched that last term twice, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But that's when the actual term ends.
So now's the time that somebody.
Nominate somebody.
If you wanted to volunteer for that, you'd say, yeah, I'll do that. If you want.
Just a minimum thing would be hard for me to get to.
'Cause I mean, if nobody else is gonna, I guess I'll just do it. Because save a whole lot of time.
That's leadership right there.
That's leadership, yeah.
I mean, that's what I want to try and convey. You gotta get out there and help these people. So I'll just do it. Anybody want to vote on that? Did I make a motion to, I motion to approve Brad Sherman as the council's representative of the Housing Authority?
Second.
Guess that's how it works. Motion by Sherman, second by Galloway.
It's not like there's any self-interest there.
Bondegaard,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Redcliffe.
Yes. It was very kind of you fellas to vote 5-0 for that one.
You're going to do great.
I hope so. I really do. I feel confident that
I actually kind
that
of,
I'm getting already is.
I have to say, I have rather enjoyed it. I kind of believe in their mission and what they're doing, so.
It is interesting conversation,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Now we got something.
Mr. Todd Suckup would like to come up here and talk to us about the wastewater treatment plant equipment.
No.
Well, just to let you know, you said, gentlemen, it was 5-0. You had an opportunity to vote.
You could vote no on yourself.
I was already third. There was already 3 before I got my chance.
Just saying.
I like to keep it
yourself and still
smooth as
been elected.
possible, starting the arguments.
It'd be nice voting on
City
it.
of Sydney
no on
Council,
your own
I'm Todd
motion.
Suckup, wastewater treatment facility superintendent for the city of Sydney. How you doing tonight?
Great.
Any questions on what we have submitted to you?
Yeah, I got one.
Shoot.
Are these two bids real?
Yeah, that's for real. We were shocked as
I
well.
was going to ask,
180,000, one's 18,000?
because it looked like a typo.
Looked like someone put an extra zero in.
Well, it looked like one was either missing a zero or got a zero added, yeah.
Yeah, we thought maybe somebody was submitting this from Colorado and forgot a zero or added a zero or something, but no, these are what they were, and we were flabbergasted at the point when we first received those. Actually went back to both firms and asked
we did.
for a little bit more, not quite a breakdown, but a little bit more focus on what they were doing. And when we got both of them, it looked, for the most part, apples to apples. So we were like, whoa. So, yeah.
We did have a review committee of like 3 or 4 people go through the whole thing, and
Yeah, we had.
they are identical, what they're proposing to do. We thought maybe one included construction when we didn't ask for
David helped
that.
us
but-
out with this, Michael Palmer.
Can't remember who else.
Where they located?
What's his name?
Marshall,
Shop.
Marshall.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
Want to say Kevin, but Kevin hasn't been here for a while. But anyhow, we
Olson
had them
is
look them
Scott
over
Scott.
and we went through them and
Or no,
we really couldn't find a lot.
Where's
So I think-
Olson?
Where are these two firms out of? Schaff and Scottsboro.
This
Schaff,
is in Scottsboro. Olson would have been out of the Kearney office.
yeah, Connie. And Schaff is just up, we've used Schaff for a
Yeah,
long
Oh, you
time.
got it.
I recognize that name. I recognize the Olson name too.
My thought is, when we went through them, it looked to me like the biggest difference, which of course there's a huge one, were in hours. MC Chef had put like, we would spend 10 hours doing X amount of work, and the other one would say we would have
I think when you.
30 or 40 or
look at
50
it,
hours with travel costs.
MC Shaft was 18 days and Olson was like
Oh, it's a bunch.
78 or 100 and something. Olson's had a bigger scope of different, they're a lot larger company.
Some more layers of
nationwide
management.
Than what I'm assuming MC staff does, I can't say for what their scope of what they've done, but they're more local, so they're probably doing a lot more stuff. As far as the mechanical and electrical and the building side of stuff, where Olson's was gonna have, they have electrical group, and they have their construction group and their HVAC group, and so they'd all have their own little part in the pie. And honestly, we really couldn't see from what they submitted for the asking the questions, it was just, it looked pretty much apples to apples. And right now, as it states, we're not going out for construction right now.
It's just
We're
for
wanting them
engineering.
to look at different options and then basically end up designing and, as it said, value planning, create design plans, estimated costs, submit final plans and the specs to the city, and then also submit them to the NDED on our behalf and answer any questions. And then if we get to that point and everything's kosher and everything comes in, we're going to go out to bid. And then once we get to that point, we'll probably be back to either probably get permission to go or the approval go out to bid. And then once that comes in, to move forward with construction or replacement of what we have at the facility.
That's the phase we're at on the one that you're going to have a couple agenda items down with the water project, so you'll kind of see both ends of that. Honestly, and I don't want to speculate, but, well, I guess I will speculate. I think when the biggest difference when we looked at these was not so much the money and the amount of hours and the amount of layers that the company has, but the start and finish date. MC Shaft could start whenever we wanted them to, whatever the bid asked them to. Olson's was a little bit further out. And so sometimes, and like I said, I don't know if this is the case or not, but I've seen in the past where companies will bid on something and they're very busy and don't have time to really do it in your time frame, so they'll throw something at you just to see if they're the only,
Well, we had this same thing years ago where business with the Obama plan back in the day where here's money, buy American, we're going to do stuff, and work was plentiful. Well, we have 3 jobs lined up, so we'll throw a bid out there. We're going to throw a huge price tag on it. If they happen to hook on it, cha-ching for us. That's, I think, what David's going to. They're busy. They have, if we selected them, they service well. I think Shaft will service well. It's just the price tag is a little bit hard to swallow.
10 times.
Yeah.
10 times as much.
Is this the guys that did the help with the street project?
I was almost sure it was a
These the
typo.
same outfit that the street project, they were like the,
They were the engineer for the 2 street
so we have a
projects,
track record
yeah.
with these guys. We use
With
them.
Shaft, I have, that have to go off of their,
We've used them with other departments and other projects, yes.
as I said,
Yeah.
we haven't used Shaft. Olson was the one who
Look at
designed
yours.
and supervised the upgrade of our SBR plant back in 2010, 2008, 2010. We started that project, but
They did do a good job on the 2 roads projects, and they also were the engineer for our water department project that's going to come up here in a couple agenda items, and I thought they did a superb job of putting that together and getting the NDE to
Yeah.
approve everything.
So we have a history with them.
You're right, we were shocked as well when we saw that.
We need a motion here? Do you have any more questions? Sir?
Yes, no, if you guys are done.
all in all, all in all.
No motion.
Do it, motion for the MC Shaft.
MC Shaft.
Yeah, the recommendation. Okay. He was way ahead of you, though. You can second
I can
those if you
second.
like.
I'm not a second.
But I'm going with that. All right. We had the motion by Brandon and second by Paul to approve the purchase of self-contained breathing apparatus.
Nope.
Oh, gosh, oh, look at that. Wastewater treatment plant equipment. And that's better. Gotta move them.
For MC Shaft.
Yes, for the recommendation that she said.
Okay, Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bonnegaard.
Yes.
Council, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
So now, Matthew Butts would like to tell us about the breathing apparatus that I'd like to scoot forward to.
Good evening, Councilman. Matt Butts, City Fire Chief.
Good evening.
I'm here tonight to see if we can't move forward with a project that we've been trying to work on for a little bit of time now with our SCBA's. The current ones that we're using are 25 years old, range. Some of the newer ones, we have a couple of the newer ones, but the majority of them are all 25 years. We're running into problems with not being able to get parts or get them replaced or repaired. The company that we have currently with, they're no longer servicing the fire service. So we're kind of at the point where we had to make a decision on what we wanted to do and where we wanted to move forward. So what I'm looking for tonight is see if we can move forward with 10 out of the 13 that we need. We're looking at $101,647 that we currently have available in our fire department reserve.
These are something that probably get certified every year.
Yep, they got to get retested. So the
Right.
models are like a 3-year. They got to get recertified, and those are actually all due right now also. So we'd have to, move around with that. But with the changing of the SCBA themselves, we'd be getting all new bottles. So we'd have a complete new fleet, and we'd be good for several more years moving forward.
How many of them do you, is there, you use all 13 at any given time?
Well, so it depends on the type of call. If we actually get a good working structure fire, we will use every single one of them at one time. So we have them placed on certain trucks to go on certain calls. So our aerial has a set of 5 that are on that truck, and those ones are made specifically for using off the aerial. The guys can sit inside the basket and hook to the aerial air and not use the stuff that's on the tank unless they have to. So those ones are kind of a specialty item. And then along with that, they also have communication abilities to communicate with guys on the ground when they're up in the air. But yeah, so we got those on that truck, and then we have the other one on our other city pumper.
And we think 13 is an adequate number.
Yep, that's what we're running right now with everything sitting on every truck, which we're actually down, I think we're at 8 right now that we're actually running with because we can't get the other ones repaired because they're too old.
Right.
So, but yeah, so the bid for the 101,647 would be to replace 10 of them to at least get us up to where we are operational.
And what's the time frame for,
Yeah.
if we approve that? How long?
They're looking about 120 days for delivery. Yeah.
Quicker than
You're
most.
down to 8 for 120 days.
Yep.
Best case scenario.
Yeah, and they're also expecting at the, I believe it was the end of February, that they're going to do another increase in price. Everything else.
Mr. Mayor. If I may, I would like to throw out a side note. As badly needed as these are, we did not have them budgeted until next fiscal year in our long 5-year budget plan because honestly, we wouldn't have had the money. It was due to the fact that the Nebraska Community Foundation stepped in on the fire truck purchase and put an additional $46,000 towards that. They were able to have this kind of, I just wanted to give them a shout out for
No,
that.
I think that's well worth warrant, you notice.
We have a motion to approve the purchase.
I'll motion.
Second.
Founderguard and Radcliffe.
You weren't even looking.
Galloway,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegaard,
Yes.
Strowman.
Yes.
Thank you, Council.
I wanted to see him sorted out. I'm like,
Joe Talish, you can tell us about the Sky Road Waterline Project.
I am. Council, good evening. I'm
Good
Joe
evening.
Talish, I'm with the Water Department. The Sky Waterline project has been engineered and has been sent to the state to be approved, so we have all their seals for approval. We have an estimated project cost of $175,475. I'm looking for approval to move forward with MC Shaft to work on the bidding and the inspection process of this Skywater Line project.
And is this one where the majority of the funding is coming through ARPA funds?
Yes.
That's worth pointing out.
And the engineering estimate is within line with what our rough estimates were for the project to beginning when we first talked about this in the budget process.
And this will also actually provide some redundancy for water access in that area, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll provide a lot, especially for fire protection and stuff
Right.
like that up there too.
So,
That way we don't have to shut them down if we have to do maintenance on the building.
yeah. Very, very worthwhile.
30 residents that are on that line.
Yeah. Very worthwhile project at very little cost to us.
Any questions on the actual project itself?
There's no other, I'll move to, you have a question, Bert?
No, I just, so the all-in's about right under 200,000, is that right?
Right. Yep, with the estimate
So that's
for the
two.
bidding and inspection phase from MC Shaft would be just shy of 200.
Depending on what bids come in at, that's our guess.
And that is just the estimate that
That's how it
MC
works.
Shaft has for the project, so we'll have to come back once we get the bids. If they're way more than that or way less, we don't know.
Sure. I'll move to proceed with the Sky Road water line project.
I'll second.
Motion by Galloway, second by Stroman.
Sherman?
Yes.
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Quandegard?
Yes.
Stroman?
Yes.
Galloway?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we saved
You're up, Mike.
Now we got something to say about it.
Mr. Palmer for a mini excavator.
We already spent the money.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Palmer, Electric Superintendent. In your packet, you should have some information on two different mini excavators we went out and solicited bids for using the Sourcewell bidding sourcing. They came in at $40,185 for a cat machine and $30,251.32 for a bobcat machine. These are very similar size and scope, capabilities. We're asking for recommendation to purchase the Bobcat E20 to assist with our underground conversion projects.
You currently have, is this replacing one?
This is a new machine. It will not replace one.
Okay. It's going to help you work faster.
Well, that
Less
is some of the
intrusive.
goal. Since we went and purchased the little boring machine last year, getting into some of the tight areas with backhoe just isn't real feasible. We do have one of these machines, but we're essentially running two crews. So a lot of times we're waiting to get something done. With the machine that's on a different crew, this would just make us more efficient and yeah, to your point, work a lot quicker. We're trying to get as far ahead of the project as possible with the idle on the north side of town so we can cost share as much of that project as possible.
So there are long-range benefits.
Yeah, I mean, it's outside of the Allo project on the north side of town. If we're installing their stuff, then they're paying for that, as well as charters helping pay for some of those costs. It'd be very positive as well.
And it's like you said, it's the same argument for the small boring machine we purchased. A lot of these areas are just extremely tight and difficult to get into.
Yeah, a lot of them, I mean, frankly, you just can't get obviously we have a backhoe. There's areas where you just can't use it. We're just waiting for the machine to go dig an exit hole or dig up some conduit of some sort.
For once, these bids did come in, I believe, a little bit under what we had budgeted during our budget session, so.
Yeah,
How about that?
Actually, Cat gave us our estimate to put in budget, and so we budgeted $50,000 for this. They figured that's where they would be. I don't know, things are starting to loosen up a little bit as far as availability of machinery, so, or not, but they both came in under, Bobcat obviously was $20,000 under, give or take. I will say that the Bobcat machine is middle summer delivery, so it does hinder us, but it's, you know,
Cuter with the light poles.
yeah. But
Atta
they
kid.
say July
Atta
delivery,
kid.
it'll probably be next January. Any other questions or?
I'll move. Unless someone else recommends.
Did
No,
you, did you,
actually-
did you want a motion?
Actually, we're right on top of that. I was just getting ready to start begging somebody now.
I'll second.
All right. Motion by Stroman, second by Radcliffe.
And this is for the, to approve the recommendation.
To approve the recommendation.
Okay.
So eloquently made by Mr. McMullen.
Okay, Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegaard,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yeah.
Sherman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. Motion passes 5-0. Purchase the new excavator. And now, as you've all had a chance to look at those claims, the fastest claims ever done by a councilman in November and possibly the second fastest in December. Anybody want to approve that?
I'm not sure I can.
I don't want to brag or anything, but it was pretty impressive.
As fast as you did it? As fast as
Fastest
you?
anybody has ever done it. Just saying, that's what Lori said.
Showed up the fastest.
Yeah, I still took my time and did them, but I was there right after she told me to.
Although Paul's been chomping at the bit, and I'm not even done with them yet, but he wants to check them.
Has he been like there every day? saying,
Yes.
When are they gonna be done?
Yes.
I'm here for duty.
That's, I thought I saw a little orange tin outside this morning. Maybe, that's awesome.
He's coming for you.
I tell you, that's what I like, right out of the
He
gate.
pretty much told me I had to have them done by Thursday.
Oh, well, I tell you what, next month we'll be asking for some,
So that'll be a new record because he was asking before.
yeah. Unless he doesn't show up.
It was a
the
good
day that
run.
she's ready, then it doesn't count.
It was a good run while it lasted.
His heart's in the right place right now. We'll just see what happens.
Plenty of time.
All right, you silly gooses.
Second.
All right, motion by Stroman, second by Galloway, to approve the claims.
Bondegaard?
And to send.
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe.
Yes.
Grudgingly, yes.
And that approves the motion 5-0 and also solidifies the claim.
Strike that from the record.
Now we have the approval of the budget reports, and certainly we have to make Elaine talk about that for a while. We're ready.
Just don't start out with 4 score.
You want me to start with December and then do November? I'll just run over the, November's kind of a new point with December right here behind it, but there really isn't a whole lot to talk about right now. I guess property tax varies, you see we're at 5% for the year. Usually get a big one, property tax increase in May, so that's usually the biggest one. Sales tax has been pretty good. Obviously, everything costs a lot more, so sales tax is going to go up with that. So sales tax looks good. Fees for service are right in line with every other year. So far, largely building permits has been the big one so far. The state, fed, and county has been pretty consistent across the board with other years. Franchise and admin fees are about where they have been every other year. And then in December's property tax is the same thing, that typically goes up. When people pay sales and occupation tax, 27%, 25% of the year. Fees for service, again, building permits has been the big ones. Like I even mentioned that in the sales and occupation tax, it's with the inflation cost, everything in sales tax. What it used to cost you $50 is $75 now. It's just going to be more. Yeah, state, federal, it just comes in when grants are received. We did get our first municipal equalization at the end of December. And then franchise and admin fees were reported, admin fees, first quarter admin fees were reported. Franchise fees come in after the audit was done in February, so. And that's all I have.
Oh, you forgot the highlight.
I did, well, is that what it is? Was it in there?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
It was in the packet, it made the packet anyway. We did, sales tax went to the state, everything we did in December that we approved was approved by the state, so we are good to continue.
We got our fancy letter saying we're good to go.
Very simple, so we were okay.
Did he do that all by himself?
He did.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I like crack pipe.
From what I understand, that's very impressive.
It is. It was not as long a process as I thought it was going to be. I was afraid that was going to be a difficult process, but it was actually really smooth, so. I had some help from the city clerk in Geary, who said what they just did in May, and then the lady from the state was Karen Barrett from the state also said that that was everything we needed for our renewal as well too, and I believe we were the first renewal to do it.
So the fastest renewal.
Well, we were the first ones to do it the first
Hard to
time.
beat.
10 years ago.
Hard to beat.
Sydney's on top of stuff.
Yeah.
You got it going.
Example to follow.
Well, we're looking for a motion to.
I'll motion.
Second.
All right, motion by Baumgart, by Galloway.
Strowman,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Wondergaard.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Wayne. Now David would like to tell us all about what's going on here in the Pine City.
Yeah, I just have a couple things. First of all, tomorrow night at the Elks at 6 p.m., there is a Veterans Entrepreneurial Town Hall. Do you want to speak at all to that, Jeff? Or?
We're going to have what we expect is a large turnout of veterans that are looking to open a business or veterans that are currently in business that are looking to have better success. But the radio station has been covering this quite frequently, and from my understanding from the Veteran Service Office, that over 1,000 pieces are being clipped open. So we're hoping for a good turnout with free hamburgers.
Oh, no.
Remember, you could have led with that.
That's, somebody else said that today, too. Was that you?
I can't wait for trying.
Oh, that was mine. I said that. You should have led with the free hamburgers.
Oh, it's my there.
You had
Well,
me at
that's
free
awesome.
hamburgers. So that's tomorrow night, if anybody wants to show up for that and encourage the veterans who would like to become entrepreneurs. And some of them that are already entrepreneurs will be there as well, like the owner of Blazius Ranch, and to kind of give his insight to the guys that are wanting to get into it. So it should be a great event. It's
We got notification today that the Veterans Administration has passed over dollars to the Small Business Administration, so the red tape is being cut to fund veteran-owned businesses. So they have to have startup capital.
So it'll be managed by the SBA instead of
Yes, sir.
the Veterans Department.
more efficient. And then one other reminder, I guess we'll have another meeting before then, or will we? January 25th from noon to 4 is the City Council Strategic Planning Session. And I will get out to you ahead of that what the city staff had come up. We have our final results and we went over it in staff meeting today, so we'll give you kind of what we had came up with for what the city staff thinks that we need to do to improve our the way we run our city. And two other things. One, I just want to thank all the departments, the street department and all the other departments that have helped out the last few weeks with snow removal. It's just been an endless chore, it seems like. And then the snow blower was down for a while, so we were having to pick up the windrows with loaders and dump trucks, and it was just a tedious chore, but I want to thank them for all the work they do. And the last thing I want to talk about was to thank the council members that attended the employee appreciation banquet Friday. I thought it was a really good event. It was one of the biggest attendances we've had since maybe even probably pre-pandemic. It was a quite large group, and I think everybody had a really good time. I think more people probably should have texted Brad, but I'll let
Well,
Roger speak to
I'll
that.
get to that. I'll get- Yeah, don't steal my thunder there.
Okay, that's all I have then.
All right. So, with that, we'll go around the room and see if anybody else. Tasha, you sat there so quietly. I can assume, I missed the first 4 items, but I assume you sat there quietly waiting to tell us something?
She was a handful.
I'll be presenting next meeting, so I have lots to tell you then. But definitely the veteran town hall, that's coming up tomorrow, or not tomorrow, sorry.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
I mean, totally got it in and stuff. But yeah, tomorrow, that's, the chambers are part of that, along with the Department of Labor and the City of Sydney, so that's really the big event going on right now, and just invoicing people, and yeah, I'll tell you more next.
All right, looking forward to that. Marshall, you also didn't get to say anything yet.
You're doing well, sir. Keep looking on permit.
Yeah, I heard that. That's very nice. Mike?
I don't know if I want to open myself up to this, but I'm going to. We are taking down some overhead electrical infrastructure, our infrastructure. So you might have, there might be some guys in your backyards taking down wires and such. So just kind of putting that out there to the public that they'll be in there for, momentarily 5-10 minutes as they cut the wire down off the house since we've converted to the underground. I have sent notice to Charter. They have 60 days to vacate. We'll see what that does.
Because you knew I was going to ask. It's like,
I said I don't know if I want to open myself up.
so we can still expect some poles with just one cable
You can still expect some.
from
just
Spectrum,
one cable.
yeah, for 60 days or 2-3 years. Take your pick.
You knew that was coming.
I did know it was coming.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying it anyway. Lane, anything else?
Just like the cable company, between 60 and 600 days, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Between 8 and noon.
Sit at your house and wait for them.
Jeff, anything else?
We are planning to do a business leadership meeting at Community College on February 23rd, bringing in some of the large business owners to talk about what their vision is for 2023.
Is that an all-day event?
It'll be lunch from 12 to 2.
So, again, free food.
Dave taught me how to bring people into the meeting.
Okay. There's a couple of us up here that are pretty appreciative of that. And back to the Wednesday, that is the Elks Normal Burger Night.
Yes.
So the hamburgers free for everybody or veterans?
Well, I'm going to assume for everybody, but our outreach
All
is
right.
specifically to veterans.
What time was that?
From 6 to
6
7:30.
6 to 7:30.
If they're not free, I'll take full responsibility for that, making that announcement.
I'll put it on your tab.
This is a building. Brandon, anything you want to talk about?
No, good.
Good? Looking forward to golf season getting started? Sure.
It's a ways away.
Fortunately.
Paul?
Nothing. I'm good.
Apparently, Roger's got some stuff up his sleeve again.
Well, I'm just going to say, I'd echo what David said. Thank you to the city crews and their work on the snow removal through multiple storms here in quick succession. So, a lot of work because you can't, a lot of times can't start until snow quits. So,
Till the wind stops too.
till the wind stops blowing, so it puts a lot of pressure on everybody. But those efforts much appreciated. The city awards banquet, as David says, very well attended. Very nice job done by the Elks, and Brandon and I got to participate in that and speak a little bit. And I kind of echoed some comments that Hank Redke, our street superintendent, made that, in these positions, a lot of times, you get hit with complaints from people complaining about different things, but you also run into a lot of people with compliments. And I echoed what he said, that I felt like we had received a lot more compliments than complaints this year. And like I assured city staff that when people complain about the city, that I always make sure to tell them, now hold on, it's not always their fault. We do have a new mayor. So, so they appreciated that, and I might have encouraged them to text the mayor and given out his number multiple times.
You gave it out so many times, I remember.
So, Believe me, I was a little distraught that 80 people didn't pull their phones out and text the mayor, but it was a great event.
Well, Roger, I appreciate you guys thinking of me while I had to suffer out of town at a wedding all weekend. But I got through it, and I came back, and it's a lot colder here than I thought it was going to be. But again, to the city and all the people that don't necessarily work for the street departments, but do when it snows.
Yeah.
That's real impressive what you guys pull off every time it snows, and I do mean every time it snows, because apparently this isn't going to stop anytime soon. Farmer's Almanac said it was going to be terrible, so.
There it is.
What do we got to lose?
Farmers were right.
So I guess tomorrow night, big night at the Elks, get your hamburgers, start your veterans business, visit a veterans business and help them out. That's about all I got. I think we will adjourn this meeting at